anyị na Chineke na nke pụrụ ihe niile. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-azọpụta. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na n'ụtụtụ na ịja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise, ise, ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. If you are joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, Australia, or any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contribution. Please, each time you watch my video, go to the comment section and put down your comments.
Thank you so much for staying with us. My guest, architect Ezekiel Talk is here with me. Thank you so much for coming over.
Thanks. Always a delight, pleasure, privilege to be here.
2023 issues and developments. I said some developments appear dramatic, but expectations are on the rise as we approach the polling day, as it were. Your impression so far?
Lots of things are happening, but my concern is to what extent we have a target. We all understand where we are today and the implication of every step that we take and what government is. That general knowledge that will lead to what I call informed decision is where my challenge is.
Informed decision. That's those that understand the enormity of the problems I tried to highlight earlier and have plans and have the will to see them through.
Yeah. You see, there's something about democracy that I want to give you a scenario that bothers me. You have, let's assume that you moved Nigerians from the marketplace, just move them to the airport, and they are to board a flight. And we have two people. One comes in this flowing agbada and tells the people, look, this story they tell you about business class and economy is just segregation. They just want to create a situation where they discriminate against you. In business class, they have food, they have wine, you drink as you wish, you eat as you wish, is buffet, is fantastic. So why can't we give it to everybody? Let everybody enjoy it, okay? And then another person comes in. He says, if you make me the pilot of this aircraft, I abolish business class. Everybody goes in, well, enjoy our lives and life is good. Look, you see, for the airline to be sustainable, you do what you call cut and fill. You take from the rich and you give to the poor. That is why maybe the rich man is paying for the business class or the first class is paying 1 million. Okay, let me come down to the local rates. He's paying, say, 100,000, paying, say, about 20,000. Now maybe the rate should be about 40,000. So what we do is we charge this man a lot of money, give him just a little thing, and we cut and fill extra comfort. We cut and fill so that the other man comes and says, don't, that's that all the things that they say to confuse you is not true, just make me your pilot. Comes and says, you see, I'm a trained pilot. This is an aircraft. We can't just, why don't you ask for our credentials? Because if we get on board and you don't have a trained pilot, this aircraft is going to crash and we'll all die. He says, forget that nonsense. How many aircraft have crashed so far? These are the lies they tell you. At the end, the vote is taken. Out of 100, the pilot will be very lucky to have 5 people. Let me even be more generous, 10 people, vote for him. The man who is promising everything to the people and playing on the vulnerability and ignorance of the people will get the vote. Now, just suppose that with where we are today, how many Nigerians know that the scenario of the aircraft I've just painted is child's play relative to running the economy of a nation? How many people realize that they are where they are today because of the decisions taken by the leaders that we put in office? How many realize that government is not just a reward system? but the most important institution after God that affects our lives. And to what extent are the people who are going to vote aware of the implication of the decisions they take? Now, it is more worrisome when we have a situation where they say, if you want to win, go to the rural areas. I'm contesting the governorship of my state, and that's the sad reality. I sit down for 3 hours on the average everywhere I go, and some people are like, this man, they can't give us lecture. Make you do the needful. We don't need to waste time. Or God, just come, land, and go. But things are changing, and
that's down to the illiteracy, the poverty that is expanding in the country, especially in these rural areas. It will be difficult to upscale their awareness, knowledge up to the point where they will ask for the real things from the politicians.
When I say we the elite are very unfair. Absolutely unfair. I look at my life and where I come from. I grew up with my grandmother in the village. I mean, when your mother sends you to her mother in the village, I mean, that's called the last bus stop. It couldn't get worse than that. Here I am today, sitting on one of the most elitist seats in this country. Focus Nigeria is one of the most prime of the prime programs. How am I here? What brought me this far? From where I was to where I am today. And how many of us have asked ourselves, what are we giving back to those who are where we were? Most of the governors today, most of the permanent secretaries, most of the chairmen of boards and parastatals, if you check their lives, they came from the village like I did. But they just couldn't care less about where they came from. If anything, they'd rather live in denial and just remove themselves from it. But I think the time has come when women and men of conscience should actually search their hearts and ask themselves, what am I giving back to this country that God used to bring me to where I am today? I think we've been very unfair to the poor. We've been very unfair to the unenlightened. We've been very unfair. We have not reciprocated the love and the chances and the privileges that God gave us.
The opportunities that was enjoyed during our time, and that's why
I'll tell you
it appears they are fighting back. The bandits, the terrorists, the unknown government, the kidnappers some will say we're driven into that evil way.
They were. I'll tell you this, and our leaders, I say it again, God will have to help our leaders to forgive them, because think of where we are today. ASU has just announced indefinite, strike. Meanwhile, these children have been home for over 6 months. They are not sure of when they are going to go back to school. And we are here debating and playing politics, and it really doesn't hit us, because those of us that are taking decisions, I have 2 sons. One went to University of Manchester, okay? The other one is in UK, Burnley, And so whether these people are on strike for the next 3 years, it doesn't affect me, because I can afford to send my children to the elitist schools. But the question is, you are occupying a seat based on their money. What is the budget? The budget is the resources of every Nigerian, like a vote, one man, one vote. The money of every Nigerian brought under your care and custody for you to manage that resources in the larger interest of the owners. You have appropriated all that money as a governor or as a president or as a minister to yourself for your personal comfort. But that's not your money. It is the money. You see, Dangote can afford to live his life because he says, I do my business. But no government worker, no commissioner, no minister, no governor, no president can afford the luxury of watching the poor, because the poor constitute over 90% of the population. What that means is that the money that you are enjoying belongs to 90% of that money belongs to them.
And the children that are being trained overseas will come back home to live in the same society with the riches of the earth. They up to settle outside permanently.
The first thing is that these children are being trained with the money of the poor, because 90% of the money of the rich man in office belongs to the poor. 90% minimum. Okay? And then you see, what they believe that they have 2 passports. So if their children come and it gets hot, they will leave again. But you see, things happen. I don't know how the memory of man is treacherous, how we forget certain things too fast. You come in, did you know that COVID was going to happen overnight? You didn't know. So don't be too comfortable that you have this house in London, you have this bank account that is here. It could just be, there's a way God does things. It could just be that a little thing came at a moment of comfort, and they came home for one thing or the other, and boom, the doors are shut. So don't be too comfortable. There's a story of a man who was traveling, he went somewhere to the rural areas. On his way back, he had an accident, and he needed, he had a cut, like the arm, and he needed to have that controlled, and the blood stabilized. If not so, if he lost too much blood, he was going to die. Incidentally, it was at a place that only bikes could come. Carrying him on bike wouldn't work, because they did not develop the area with all the money that the guy could call 8 ambulance and 5 would come at the same time. Unfortunately, it didn't work at that time, and eventually he died. So you see, when you think you are comfortable, when you think you are at ease, you don't know what nature is planning for you. And that hospital that you neglected could be your saving life tomorrow. You say, oh no, I have my best physician.
It's just that the big men in government, part of the vehicles within their convoys is an ambulance that is well equipped to take care of emergency. So they understand this and they make provision. The rich, the elite appear to always have a way to make provisions for themselves.
Yeah, but
if they are sick, they get outside the shelters of the country. Their children's school overseas and all that. But at the end of the day, the society gets further deep down the drain, and that's a part of the society.
They are, but I in the process of campaigning, I've introduced something that is going to catch on fire. Because we can't just continue where we're going. I say, when I get somewhere in the process, I will remove my shoes and stand on the sand. And I raised my hands and said, if I have come here to deceive you people, and everything I have said is not honest and sincere, if I've come here to take advantage of your vulnerability, if I've come here abusing funds, that is your money, to come here and oppress you and get your vote and abandon you, if that is my intention, let it not be well with me and all that I have to do in Jesus' name. They were like, those. I said, no. I am the one praying. It's about myself. The time has come. If you are in a place, I don't know, other areas, when a politician comes, he gets you to swear to support him.
To be assured of your loyalty.
Yes, and that is preposterous. I want something, and I get you to swear. It should be the reverse. It's the man that wants my vote that should swear that he will do what he has said he will do.
So is that not why they swear with the Bible or Quran, but some people feel it's not enough? Perhaps when we get some local dates.
See, the Bible says a man is ensnared by the words of his mouth. Let him say it. Words are powerful. People don't know. Any man that comes to you, you have to ask certain questions. He said, look, architect stood on the stand, raised his hands and said, if he's come to lie to us or has stolen money to come and bribe us, let it not be well with him. Sir, what do you say? If he cannot do that and you follow him, he's not the problem, you are the problem. Because the time has come when I need to enlighten you that this is your money, this is your future, and anybody coming to work has to come and tell you by every possible means that he is going to do what he said he would do.
Okay. Let's look at the run-up to the election, as it were.
Yeah.
The addition of two different political parties, making it at the national level, the presidential level, a four-horse race, as it were.
Yes, yes.
We are seeing events unfolding, meetings, mobilizations. We are seeing defections and what have you. What are your permutations?
We are running a narrative that just doesn't make sense, with all due respect. I created 3 circles. The first circle is old wine in old wine skin. And in that circle, I have 2 people, Mr. Atiku and Mr. Asiwaju, the 2 of them. They are old wine in old wine skin. No Nigerian will dispute that. They've been there. APC, PDP have been there. There's a second circle that I have 2 people. They are old wine in new wine skin. And in that circle, you have Kwankwaso and Peter Obi. They are old wine, but they are coming into a new wine skin. There's a third circle, and that is new wine in new wine skin. And in that third circle, we have Adewale Adebayo of SDP and Dumebi Kachiku of ADC. When you take these 3 people, these 3 scenarios, it's my personal opinion, very, very personal, that Nigerians have seen PDP and APC. We've seen them. We should just, if I had my way, I would appeal to the 2 people and say, please, can you just bury your ambition? It's my turn, it's my right. The 2 of them are claiming the same thing. Asiwaju just says, I've worked for this APC long enough, I should be rewarded. And then Atiku says, I've been the longest running contestant in this matter, this is my turn. You, with all due respect, do you know what government is? In governance, you don't talk of my turn. You don't. You talk of capacity performance. So you should never, you should never have brought that at all up.
You are contesting at the state level for government. Where will you classify yourself? Because you've been a politician.
Yes.
You were in one party before you would be in the middle. Found the Democratic Party.
I'll tell you this. And this will shock.
Do you not belong in the old wine in a new wine bottle?
I'll tell you this. This will shock many Nigerians. I have never in my life accepted any paying appointment. Never. I've lived as a professional.
You've not worked in the public sector?
Not one day.
You have not been in a political office?
No, political office. I've never been paid by public funds in my life.
We'll take a break here. We'll come back. Let's hear that sound wanted to share with you earlier. The Minister of Finance explaining facts and figures and the fundamentals of the medium-term expenditure framework 2023-2025 and, of course, the 2023 budget estimates.
Fortunately, for the past 4 years, for the oil and gas sector, we haven't been able to realize any excess revenue. It has always been short. So there has been no accruals during this period to the ECA. Meanwhile, there has been some approvals that has been given by the Federation, including the states, on security. And we had, over time, as security agencies were undertaking the projects, been providing the funds from that source. We don't have any projections, even in the near future, that we will fail, because we actually follow a medium-term debt management strategy very, very strictly. The debts are not taken haphazardly. They are planned, they are appropriated, and then we borrow against the appropriation. But we do have pressures in terms of the ratio, because when revenue is underperforming, then it means we have problem being able to service all of government. The liquidity situation is very, very challenging. That's why what we need to do, all of us, including the parliament, is to work towards increasing our revenue performance.
I want to have a copy of the performances from, as per your own record. And secondly, can we fine-tune this yearly ritual by you putting all agencies on first-line charge of what they are expected to pay automatically?
Okay, we'll come to those facts and figures much later, but my guest, Ezekiel Talk, Director General, Country First Project, has been with me. Before we went on the break, the question was, where do you belong in these three different categories?
I'll tell you this. There's a young boy, let me take Akwa Ibom State, young man. He's in his early 40s. He spent 8 years with Akpabio, then went on to, I don't want to be too specific, spent another 8 years with my brother Udom, and then he is here. So effectively, he spent a minimum of 16 years, because before Akpabio was also there, in government. Okay, but it's for something, young person. Nyaitok is 58, November 1 I'll be 59. I have not spent 1 day in government. So where governance is concerned, who is old, who is new? Is it age, that your date of birth, or how much you have been inside government? That is the first thing. So to that extent, age-wise, which is not relevant, you say I'm old wineskin. But in terms of being somebody bringing something fresh to what is different, I become more of a new wineskin. But for me, that's really neither here nor there. What I want to bring up, which is relevant,
so you think you belong to the middle category?
Effectively, to avoid argument, I'll put myself in the middle category, but I'm more like in the third subset. But that's really not important.
Okay.
You know, this is very important because we need to contextualize that discussion. We are talking of experience. I had an interview once in Guardian, you know, long time back, very extensive, and they made one of the biggest mistakes, because I insist, if we are taking my interview, you must record it and transcribe it, just to quote me right. And they said I was talking about elephant experience. Now that's
the blind man or what?
Elephant, you know, like humongous, big experience. Yes, but that was one of the greatest misrepresentations you could have, because I was talking of relevant experience and not elephant experience, because elephant experience, big, humongous experience, doesn't mean anything. You could be experienced in bureaucracy, you could be experienced in speaking loud and saying nothing, you could be experienced in one thing or the other, but you need relevant experience. For instance, no matter how rich Dangote is, they are not going to put him on that seat to do. If they are to choose, you know, who is going to anchor this program between Dangote and yourself, you have the relevant experience. That's why you've made this program the way it is, a frontline, you know, program. So within the context of government and governance, the people that we say have experience have the experience we don't need. They don't have the relevant experience.
Relevant and cognate experience.
And cognate experience. I'll tell you what we need today. Have you just listened to the Minister of Finance? These are people that for 20 years, they've lived the life of comfort and convenience of government taking care of that, of them. So when they come into office, they have the experience of appropriating to themselves, taking care of themselves, thinking of themselves. What they've known all their lives is me, myself, and I. That's not what you need today. Oh, he's been in government, he's been a commissioner, he's been, as I always tell people, the worst person to make a governor is a commissioner. Because a commissioner is a classic house boy who does not have a mind. The day you have a mind as a commissioner, you are leaving the cabinet. Because governors, most governors, let me not use the same brush and paint everybody, because there are certain governors that are cerebral, like, okay, let me not be.
Better just leave them aside.
So, but generally, Nigerians will tell me that commissioner is jump, and they say how high. So you now bring some.
Most of the time, the figureheads.
Yes,
the governor will appoint a special advisor
that
on
runs
dealing with their matter.
Now bring that person to come and be a governor who does not know what it means to take an executive decision. But you look at a guy like myself, with all due respect, for goodness sake, or by the grace of God rather, where a man who's not held any office, and at the risk of sounding public office, at the risk of sounding immodest, Nigerians will tell you that over the past 10-15 years, they hear me constantly. I am there always. I don't do government
shaping public opinion.
Yes, shaping public opinion. And then running my system and being relevant. That is somebody who knows how to ask the driver, how much fuel do you put? How is it that, where did we go to, that the fuel, a full tank has not lasted us this? He understands how to extract every single drop from your resource and make maximum gains.
Let's look at the national level, the presidency. We borrowed a system of government, the presidential system from US. Those that make majority, if not all. I don't know, maybe if I look further study, I'll see whether there has been a US president that has not been a senator or a governor, or in the Congress, as it were. Same here. You're either a governor or in the parliament before you get. So it appears at the national level, beyond the governorship level, public sector, executive, or parliamentary experience counts.
Let me tell you what it is. You see, we copy things and we just. I started seeing these high-pitched roofs. Do you understand me? It became vogue. It was like the devil's toothpick. Your roof has to go really high because they were copying. Why did those people have their roofs like that instead of flat? Because of snow. Because of snow. When the snow comes, it needs to be able to go down. If not so, if it's a flat roof, the snow keeps piling and can break down. Thank you. You now come to Nigeria when nothing like snow comes. You start having the devil's toothpick for a roof. Do you understand? Because you copy.
Thank you.
Well, that's. I don't want to go into that. I'm an architect, so I can tell you that better. But come back to these people have systems and structures that work, and they have service as the motivation for seeking public office. So they've gone through that. In Nigeria is chopping. That is the motivation for seeking public office. So you can't say, oh, you need that experience. It's the experience of chopping. Our National Assembly, with all due respect, I don't want to paint everybody with the same blood, but you know that people don't go there who can make it part-time unless whether they are going there for the sacrifice. You understand what I'm saying? So let's not copy and say, oh, this today we need on the seat somebody that has that private sector capacity and mentality that is able to look at our economy and say, nope, we've got to put a stop to this, put a stop to that, put a stop to that. Gentlemen, our balance sheet is not looking good. I look at, we have management meeting on Mondays. I look at my balance sheet and I say, no, we can no longer do this. Why are we doing this? Why don't we stop this? Because we want to balance the books. You need somebody who comes to Nigeria and runs Nigeria like a business, but with a heart for the people, knowing that there is an essence to everything. The essence of my government, of my business, is to make profit with a good heart. The business of government is captured in chapter 2, section 14, subsection 2b. It says, the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of
emphasis
government.
on the people.
Yes,
not
people.
Those in government.
Thank you.
That's
and we all know
aristocracy, but we have oligarchy in Nigeria, government of the few for the few rather than for the majority. Let's quickly take a look at our Twitter feed and see what additions you're making to our discourse. Antonia Vicent says Nigerians should know their people by now. The Bible says, by their fruits you shall know them. A man or a woman that has never shown compassion or honesty at any time in life, why should you vote for such a person? Look out for sincere, honest, and capable persons. Emmanuel James says your guest in the studio is saying the minds of the ordinary citizens. Please further explain, how can the youth make the difference and change the narrative come 2023? Before you answer that, the last tweet we share from Obinna Duran. He says, tell your guests that words have no power in Nigeria. Our politicians have been swearing on Bible and Quran without consequences. Your guests should be obedient. I'm surprised that he isn't. Let's get your response on this. From Emmanuel James.
Two things. I want to make this as a very, the most important statement I could make. My first guest, or my first writer that talked about words, he should realize this. If he takes this home, it will change his life forever. The most important thing in life is the words that come out from your mouth.
Spoken.
The moment you say words have no power, you miss life completely. That's why the Bible says a man is ensnared by the words of his mouth. God said it. Words are powerful. It could appear that, oh, there are no consequences.
That's perhaps the frustration of the words not having effect.
They do.
Practical effects.
They do. The day God opens our eyes for you to see what happened to a man at the end of the day, that's why the Bible says, do not envy the wicked. Because you have no idea how his end will be. But the other person that said, what can the youth do? My advice is, there are two types of youths. First are the enlightened. If you've ever been to school, you can read and write. You should be able to think. Sit down, think of yourself. Zone 2023 to yourself. Get selfish. Ask yourself, who is saying what will be in my best interest? You don't have access to the mind of a man, but you have access to the words of a man. Let him at least have.
So you start from the known to the unknown.
From the known, the right sound bites. Number one. Number two, go back and do a research on this man. You look, I always give one very, maybe not too nice expression. When our president, current president, wanted to be president of Nigeria, I saw him wear that Igbo traditional dress with the cap. Yes, I saw him wear it. What happened to that after election? I've not seen him wear any. And I actually think that Mr. President, for whatever it's worth, on Fridays or something, you understand me, just tie wrapper, the Akwa Ibom style, wear the Yoruba style, just from time, because you are the president.
If you can wear green campaign, you can wear it while in office.
Okay, so my is, he has said this. The Bible talks about the Berean Christians who would go back and do research. Go back. Yato wants to be a governor. He says he loves the youth. Please, can you go to his Facebook and go 20 years down?
Analyze them.
Yes, analyze him.
Postings there.
Analyze him. Analyze it. You see, you can't, things should not always come served a la carte. You know, in fact, you do the work.
And that's where the deceit of the people starts.
Yes.
During the election, you pretend you're one of them. You buy corn by the roadside, eat, you wear to ordinary things, ordinary actions and conduct of people, wear their clothing. But when you are in office, you drop all those things. That's the beginning of the deceit.
I'll tell you something that happened. One of my friends said, architect, why do you contest every year? Why are you always contesting? And he was shocked when I told him that. 1999, there was an election cycle. 2003, there was election cycle. 2007, there was election cycle. 2013, 11, there was election. 2015, 5 election cycles. I said, I have never contested except once. In the 5, he said, no. I said, yes. I've never even indicated any interest except once. Up to 2015, once in 2007. He said, but you're always, you know, I said, yes, that's the point. I'm always in the news. Do you know why? Because in Nigeria, whenever you are in the news, you are looking for something. So the guy was shocked that all this time, I never contested. He actually went and did research and came back. Like 2007 was the only time before 2019. So he was shocked. I thought you contested this 5 every. I said, no, only once.
Okay.
So what am I saying? People come to your face when they need something. When they get what they want, they take off. But there are people that have always been on your face and you think they need something. No, they are there.
That's why on our Twitter feed, Chidi Morris is saying the effective way we can hold elected public officers accountable is to activate the removal process. The Constitution made provisions for impeachment. All elective officers should be removed immediately they are found wanting. Let's get your comment on that of Obina that says you're surprised. He's surprised you're not obedient.
Okay, I'll tell you. You see, obedient is an ideology, not a person. It's an ideology. Nobody cares about a man called Peter Obi, but they care about what he stands for and what he personifies. Okay, a man who is extremely cost conscious, a man who thinks that public money should be people's money and not private money, a man who thinks that we should play less of politics and do more of governance. Do you understand? Those are things that he happens to fit into. But there are many people. I run a party, and one of the people that I really have such great respect for is Mr. Dumebi Kachiko, who is our presidential candidate, who's made things for himself. Today, he stopped me from talking in church. He said, I know you are from Akwa Ibom State, and Akwa Ibom is predominantly Christian, but this is what we want to change. Leave this Christian thing, deal with people as human beings. And he's talking to me in private. This is a man who believes in the unity and oneness of this country to a point where he's willing to take certain risks. So within that context, you can call him obedient. Do you understand me? Because he personifies that concept. So you share in one Nigeria. So I share in all those ideologies. Now, perhaps, and I bring in people from NNPP, ADC, you know, different. Look for APC. Yes, look for those in APC. They are there. There are some nice guys. Like,
now perhaps because of want of time, sorry, let's get your response to this very last question.
Yes.
There are reports that party stalwarts, those that have been with political parties and been nominated or have been nominated into INEC positions, REC and all that. The civil society is insisting the president should withdraw those nominations, or the National Assembly should do the needful.
You see, Mr. President should not use his hand to destroy a mega building. One of the biggest things, and the president will be remembered for. I say this on the program here with your sister Ijoma, my sister. I said, because of just signing that electoral bill to an act, every sin he committed before now and every sin he will commit till he leaves office, I've forgiven him in advance. That's how important that electoral act is. It has brought confidence to Nigerians. But he should be careful not to bend to certain pressures by bringing, I mean, there are a plethora of competent Nigerians. Look for them. The optics matter. Justice should not only be said, but should be seen. And they say perception is more important than reality. So he should remove those people. Nigerians will hail him to high heavens. There's nothing he wants again. What he wants is that animation of Nigerians saying, you're a good man, well done, you are finishing strong. He can't finish strong on the economy, he can't finish strong on corruption, he can't finish strong on security. I'm saying this with every sense of responsibility, but he can finish mega strong on electoral process. He's built the best foundation that could be built. The superstructure should not come and destroy the foundation he's built. He should change those people, and he shouldn't be bothered whose ox is God. Nigerians are not going to be remember him that APC won election. No, they will not. But they will remember him that, look at Jonathan lost and he became a hero. So, Mr. President, I beg you. The Bible says, I beseech you by the mercies of God. Just remove those people and give us free, fair, credible elections, and I will be one of your cheerleaders.
Well, if the president doesn't understand the language you use, he will get the sign your close face. It's an indication of please going his way. Thank you so much for joining us today. Sikenya, Talk Director General, Nigeria First Project and ADC governorship candidate in Akwa Ibom State.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.